Gareth Southgate is the main reason we all believe England is going to disappoint in this competition. And I see people that are blaming Phil Foden. People are blaming Harry Kane. I do, to a degree, understand that. Phil Foden should show more. Harry Kane should show more. But the tactical awareness of the manager is not a positive in this team. And why isn't Kobe Maino played a game still? Why has Cole Palmer 0 minutes?
No,
0 minutes in the Euros. We should see more of Cole Palmer. Kobe Maino is what you needed. Not after the game stating Calvin Phillips is in his state of mind of Gareth Southgate. Justifying the draw is mad, in my opinion, when you have Maino, when you have Wharton, and when you can have Jude playing next to Royce. That is no justification to a player that played zero starts in the World Cup 2 years ago. It's mad.
Yes.
Mad.
Yes, and yes. I mean, yes to all of the above. You bring this new energy, you bring this injection of energy, and you don't use it. And I know he hooked the whole entire offense, right? Mm-hmm. He hooked Kane, Saka, Foden with 20 minutes to go, and they still didn't really generate a lick when it comes to it. And I think the biggest frustration is you have to remember you're probably in one of the most highly scrutinized countries on the planet when it comes to football. And they are always going to be punching bags, just like they were back in the day, and just like they are now. But the stable of talent, right? The amount of talent, the depth of talent, the amount of excitement around some of these players, it feels almost wasteful to be used in what feels very robotic and delivered by Gareth Southgate. And he's been in charge since 2016. He came up with the U21s after a failed stint at Middlesbrough. Exactly. And he's gone through this system. He's watched some of these guys grow up. And ultimately, you should not be trying to fit, right, round pegs into square holes. You should be building the team around what you've got and what your strengths are, while, yes, having kind of a tactical center, right, or a strategic center that you can all kind of home around. I think he's set up a Phil Foden to fail. I really do. I don't think this is a
Trippier behind him.
Or not fail, but underwhelm. So in there, like Cole Palmer sitting on the bench after as many goal involvements this season, after kind of the bravado that he brings, right? Just putting him on the pitch because you need an injection of energy makes the most sense. You push Bellingham back to the 8, and you have Palmer in the 10, and I think you've got your problem solved before you even look at one of the teenagers who I think are also, like you mentioned, more than capable to do this. I think Southgate is overthinking. He's almost like got a half a foot out the door in some of the comments he's made and some of the ammunition that he's given the media. And a lot of that just has to do with, you mentioned Calvin Phillips. When you're in the throes of Euro 2024,
completely.
How?
Completely.
How?
Completely. A player that Guardiola didn't trust. A player that... I rented it. It did to an extent. I agree with that. And yes, a lot of good points you mentioned just there. Like this video and comment down below if you agree with anything that we just said. Who would you start in this position? Would it be Trent? Would it be Kobe Maino? Would it even be Calvin Phillips? I'm joking. That cannot be an option or even a thought. Calvin Phillips in Gareth Southgate's mind looks like it's Sergio Busquets, okay? Like it looks like the potion of eternity for this man to play good football with this English national team, which shouldn't be the case. And this is why it shouldn't be the case. England have a squad full of world-class season players, okay? This season they were amazing. Cole Palmer, Foden, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Declan Rice. This list is of a player that made the difference definitely this season, and they're not playing the best way. That says it all, okay? Bellingham is the one that can show the most. Maybe it's because he's the player that has that eagerness to win the most of all these players, in my point of view. But still, it shouldn't be an individual quality that shows the best. It has to be the style of play and the football that you can play with this team. So, Breton, I have here some... Because we're pointing fingers. We're saying Gareth Southgate, which is obvious, should not be the manager of England in the World Cup. I believe that. Foden, I think, will agree with me. I don't want to say that. But so I believe Gareth Southgate will not be the manager of England in the World Cup and is the best for England. I have other options. Graham Potter,
Yes.
I think, is a better option than Gareth Southgate for England in the next World Cup. I think it's a bit ambitious, bold, but that's what they need.
It is.
Kobe Mainoo, I think, would play more. Cole Palmer, I think, would play more. Phil Foden to his strengths. Harry Kane, which is some people stating he's not the striker for the World Cup. That is mad. Mad if you see Harry Kane with what he can do at club level. So just wanted to say those things. And yes, very interesting. Who will replace him?
It is very interesting. And I think you're right. You're right up there with where I think they would go. I think they realize that flash or pizzazz or is not real pomp and circumstance. It's not really something that they would want. So anyone out there that is looking at like a Jurgen Klopp or even a Mauricio Pochettino or a Thomas Tuchel, both of who are, actually all three of those are available. I just feel like that's unrealistic. This is one of the most highly scrutinized posts on the planet. I do. I actually do. I mean, a lot of Capello happened. It didn't go very well, right? Sven-Goran Eriksson was, I think, one of the first ones in there too. I'm not saying that one of them couldn't. I think Thomas Tuchel's probably the best out of those four in terms of primed for the type of an English setup, what we've got here. But I think you're hitting the nail on the head by saying Graham Potter. I would also throw out there, I think he's actually like the bookies' favorites right now, but an Eddie Howe, right? Eddie Howe has grown up in this long term. He's still got the backing of Newcastle, but he has shown that he can do it in two separate ways. He can do it with the bootstrap type of pull yourself up, with a little bit of investment, but small club, built to Premier League level, that's Bournemouth. True. Right? And then he also has been doing it with Newcastle, where there's a whole lot more scrutiny, not just from him, but also from foreign owners and from the English media. And he's still relatively young that he can grow through the system with them. I feel like Eddie Howe has similar similarities to Gareth Southgate, where they're man managers as well, right? They're pretty good at building a rapport. Notice how nobody's badmouthed Gareth Southgate once from inside the camp, right?
Well,
that
Ben
I know
White
of.
should have.
I could be wrong.
Ben White?
Ben White, that's true. There is that type of weird, fractious relationship. But Eddie Howe would be my personal selection based on, do you go, if you stay English, which I think is something that they'd like to do.
I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think that'll be the case, Breton. I don't think the FA will stay English with the new English manager after Gareth Southgate. Why? Well, I don't think this is the reason, but let's be honest, people. England has never won the Euros. No English manager has ever won the Premier League. Why are we acting like England has the same football culture that as Spain, then of France, then Portugal, okay, in terms of winning? So Portugal, I've seen win a Euros. I've seen Ronaldo, the greatest player for many people, play football. Like I in my lifetime, I've seen it. And many people didn't see Bobby Moore. They didn't see England win the World Cup. And they still have this opinion that they're must favorites with not the best manager. When you see Nagelsmann with Germany has quality managers. Luis de la Fuente too for Spain. Top manager. And yes, we're coached by Roberto Martinez that, look, who knows? He might go bold for us. But England, there's just too much confidence in my point of view to a team that I think has the individual quality for that. But we haven't seen that football that we're like, wow. And the manager that can make that happen, Bretson. I agree. Eddie Howe is a better option even than Graham Potter. If Eddie Howe is available, I think that's a really good choice for the next England manager. But the obvious dream, dream, and the dream for England manager, and he would be the most well-paid manager in Europe if that happened. The FA would have to pay big. I don't know how they'd get this money, but it's a bold statement. Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola will not manage Jude Bellingham for a club level, okay? We know Jude Bellingham ain't leaving Real Madrid whatsoever. Foden looks really needing of a Pep Guardiola there. Everyone. I would be so bold, mate. I don't think that will happen. I'm stating.
Right, if you have the critique of Manchester City players not playing well outside of the Manchester City Pep Guardiola system, then you might as well throw the dang, bank at him and try and bring Pep Guardiola in to build the system from a national team level. But I got to tell you, I feel like Pep would just be bored with international,
No, I'm joking.
managerial.
It's the dream.
Yeah, I know. But I do want to just kind of really quickly go back because a lot of what this is not the only thing that makes me annoyed, but it is the largest thing that makes me annoyed when I'm watching England, and it's that there's a lack of a freedom of expression. Because I feel like this generation, or even from when Southgate started 8 years ago, I feel like this team is more technical. There's flair. A lot of these guys are doing things in foreign lands, right? I mean, they're doing things in different leagues, like Jude Bellingham, right? Building rapport with Brazilians. And there needs to be like this freedom of expression that is not being accommodated at all within this particular system. So yeah, now that I've said Eddie Howe, if it's an Englishman, I see Eddie Howe being the leader. But maybe you're right. Maybe they do need that shot in the arm of somebody, whether it's foreign or whatever, but somebody that will give them that freedom of expression. Maybe it is Mauricio Pochettino. I don't know.
This is just a thought. Gareth Southgate is the man that picked Jared Bowen ahead of Sancho to play in the Euros in Germany. I'm not saying Bowen had a bad season. I'm just stating, playing in Germany, Saka leaves the pitch. Who do you prefer, Sancho or Jared Bowen? My answer is clear.
Sancho.
It's Sancho.
Yeah.
It's Sancho. So preparing for cup competition, we have Chico Conceição, which I think has a major talent, but Sancho has major talent and confirmation in the world of football. It's so obvious, and Braithwaite too would be a player left-footed that would add so much value to this team, and we do not see him there. Okay,
because there's the intangibles. Yeah, you're right. Jared Braithwaite has this intangible to him that just, I feel like, would be dialed up in a tournament like this. Would he make mistakes? Absolutely. But Jared Bowen is the practical selection based on his season. I get it. But you're right. Jadon Sancho also has that intangible, just like Chico Conceição, in terms of you don't know what he's going to do most of the time. And you need players like that. Right now, Saka is playing robotic. Even Foden feels robotic in this system. Everything feels robotic. So it's something, you need that je ne sais quoi, right? You need that uncertainty. And that's, but we have to remember where they came from, right? They came from, what were their names? Sam Allardyce and Roy Hodgson, okay? And then it was Gareth Southgate. And they promoted Gareth Southgate from within. It's been 8 years. It's been a World Cup semifinal. And it has been a Euro final. And yes, they have fallen short both times, but there has been this steady build that makes you think that if something changes,
they have the best league
I know,
in
if
the
something
world.
changes, they still can win this thing, which is crazy. But it doesn't feel likely anymore.
They get Spain, they get Germany. I don't believe England wins. But do you believe that will be the case? Do you agree with our statements? If so, like this video, it's a huge help for our channel, and comment down below if you disagree. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section.